Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and we have potential regrets to get to, so let's go ahead and see who we have in the chat. We have 1-Bit Fever Dreams. Hi, Michael. We have SadMac356. Hi, SadMac. We have Thomas Armstrong. Hi, Thomas. We have Kevin. Hi, Kevin. We have CMD Big Mike. Hi, Big Mike. We have George Something Mike. Hi, George. We have SJ Brian.exe. Hi, SJ. We have Mike's Future Retro. Hi, Mike. Let's see here. We have I8386SX. We have Jesse. Yes, I got started on time tonight. Even after wondering why in the world it looked like I had a component fail for streaming, and, well, turns out the monitor just went to sleep, even though I didn't think I had it set to go to sleep. Jesse says, I am watching this and dealing with my Aruba super regret. Well, the June tip jar goal is on the screen. Link is in the video description, or should be. That helps me buy regrets. And we are first going to start, though, with a non-eBay item. Or at least I believe this is a non-eBay item. It comes to us from... I don't know if it's their name or a business name, so it comes to us from California. And I believe this is a Tindy order. So, hi to all my Tindy sellers and viewers in California. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and pull the packing slip out of the... Alright, yes, this is a Tindy order. So, I will, see if I can't get the actual item out. There we go. I believe, Big Mike, that is Aruba, as in the networking equipment, if I know Jesse. Alright, we've got a handwritten note here from the seller. Let's see here, there we go. Thanks for supporting makers. Printed on an old laser writer with Tash Talk USB smiley face. Alright, there we go. And Big Mike has already put into the chat the guess that it is a Tash Talk. Yes. All right. Well, and my ruffling of the thank you. I had an alert set to let me know if these came back in stock. They came back in stock. I picked one up. It is USB to Tash Talk adapter. So you plug this into your USB-based computer running the software, and you plug this into your local talk network, or I think you can directly connect it to a local talk Mac. You set the Mac, your vintage Mac up, and your modern computer will look like a file server to the vintage Mac, and you can copy files over. How neat. Hi, Stian. Welcome. Welcome back. Stian says, I haven't been here for a while because I've been traveling. All right. So there we go. I picked one of these up. We'll have to take a look at it at some point. I'm hoping it will be a help to getting files on old Macs. So there we go. We will set that off to the side. And now, let's go ahead and roll this important announcement video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
All right. And as I potentially dropped a hint into the chat earlier, although it might be a multifaceted hint, we have several boxes on the bench. This may not be the entire set of boxes. It might be what fits on the bench. But we have a rectangular box. Or, well, I guess it's a squarish box. Turned upside down for address security. We have a flat rate padded envelope. We have a longish box. And we have a box that we'll be waiting for last. And we have a Jason Merrill in the chat of Gutpalm Industries. Hi, Jason. Yes, we have regrets. And we will start with this lovely regret here from an eBay seller in New York State. So hi to all my viewers and eBay sellers in New York. Ooh, yeah, we've got some lovely, high-quality, that's got an address on it. Let's turn that upside down there. There we go. We got some lovely packaging there. Oh, we have a message from the seller on the invoice. Seller handwrote, Justin, thank you. Words. Okay, I'm having trouble reading the words. Thank you. Use care. I don't know. I can't. Having trouble reading. Hopefully, I earn a 5-star feedback score. All right. I don't know what it says there. Thank you. All right. So, handwritten notes, always nice. We've got a little bit of cardboard to reinforce the boxes here. Bird is the word, says Jesse. Yeah, I have no idea what the word is. All right, so I'm going to open this without hopefully showing off their address that's on the cardboard they used for reinforcing. Place your guess in the chat if you think you have the foggiest clue what this might be. I will give you a hint. There are some vintage price tags on these boxes. $39 each. I did not pay that much. And, yes. I can't show you I can't show you many other sides to the box. Thomas says, Trident video card. Ooh. Usually a good guess, but no. These are not Trident video cards. Feedback guesses, some kind of software. No, they are not software. 1-bit fever dreams, double right shift and absolute value symbols. Well, yes and no. I was going more for what's inside the box. But yeah, technically you are right. And I'm double checking. No, there is no software inside. CMD Big Mike, magnetic media of some sort. No. No, there are no discs inside. Also, Are they 8-inch floppy disks? No, they're not. There's a floppy disk for size reference. Joseph Norris. Hi, Joseph. Suddenly I heard someone talking and forgot I had you open in a tab. More awesome PC stuff. Ooh, no. This is not PC stuff. This is not PC stuff. Although the box certainly looks like it's PC stuff. One bit says Pico IDE. No, this is actually a vintage product. I'm gonna pull it. There we go. I'll pull it out of the box. I cannot show you this piece of paper because it would give it away. Let me see if I can. I will read some of the lines that won't totally give it away. 5 full year warranty. One bit says Trident card for TI-99. CMD Big Mike says ISA sound card. No. It does include installation instructions. Note 1, please read the complete instructions first. Then go over a second time during installation. Step 1, turn off all power to computer system. Soccer Wrench says 5.25-inch discs have been retconned to floppier discs. Thomas thinks it's a Tandy PC card. Nope. Yupbomb thinks it's an Atari 8-bit memory card. Nope. I will eventually give it away. I'm going to read the entire installation instructions. Step 2, remove lid of housing to allow access to peripheral slots. Thomas Armstrong guessed it, which is good. But it's not. It is an Apple II disc card. Jesse guesses, is it for computer? Yes, it is. It is a pair of clone Apple II disc controllers. Like, exact clones. I think they copied Apple. Don't tell Apple. Joseph says, oh, and the Steam Machine is out. Yes. Oh, the Steam Machine is out? I didn't have that on my list of things to look for on eBay. Oh, the specs are out. Hi, Lazy Bite Boy. Welcome. So, yes, I have a pair of disk drive expander cards. 100% replacement for Apple Disk Controller. Controls 2 disk drives. Yeah, it's like totally compatible. Thomas Armstrong. Oh, what was wrong with computer? The address and data line buffer chips. Like, all of them. Like, all 4 chips. I don't know exactly which ones are bad, but once I replaced all the buffer chips, it started working. Although the disk controller cards are not working still, so there's something wrong with some of the disk controllers I was trying to use. So, anyways, all right. So I got 2 more disk controller cards. All right, this next item comes to us from an eBay seller in Phoenix, Arizona. So hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Arizona. Gutbomb may not guess what this one is because he got a sneak preview when I was tempted to buy it. So yes, we have this box here. And let's see here. What do we have? Oh, Gutbomb is not saying a word. All right. Hopefully we have a nicely packaged item here. You can place your guesses. Jesse says, I guessed 2 riddles correctly in 1 month. Wow. All right, so I will Oh, there we go. Unfortunately, I think I might have revealed a bit too much there. There we go. If anyone wants to lob the usual guesses in the chat, like Trident Card, Vic20. Jason says, I didn't realize you were actually buying that. 1-bit guesses a retro embarrasser. Yeah, in a way it is a retro embarrasser, yes. Jason says, I thought you were just showing it to me. No, I actually decided. Jesse guesses a PCI video card. Yep. Kevin guesses upgrade for the Mac Plus. I might as well just show this one off. No, it's a Mad Dog video card. Because I'm mad and this video is almost ready to start production. Yes, look at this. This card is very sad. It's got some sad caps on it. It'll need recapped. It also has this wonderful brand sticker on it. Pay no attention to the sticker underneath. One bit says it's a rotary phone. Jesse's guessing an NVIDIA FX 5200. I actually am not entirely sure. An NVG34P DVI. I guess the one good thing is it's got a DVI on it, so I figure, well, if I do get it running, it's got DVI for better video capture, and it's the 128 megabyte version of the card, which will make it easier to work with certain older operating systems. Thomas says it's hiding a Trident chip. It could be. I mean, it could very well be. The NVIDIA logo could be a... One bit says it's a modem, but you rotate the dial on the PCB to make calls. Hand-in case every time. Yeah. Yeah, with multiple caps. It looks like... Yeah, you know, it is... Oh, that's neat. It looks like this board was, has pads for surface mount caps. So depending on what these need to replace it... 1500 microfarad, 6.3 volts. Yeah, it is kind of a sad dog card. Might be able to get some surface mount polymer caps. That might actually be, it might be easier to install surface mount caps. Anyways, there we go. Yeah, I will have to recap it. Because there's definitely... I think 3 of those caps are domed. And they're all 7 of them are the same wonderful brand. Yeah, it's a sad dog right now. All right. Yes, Jesse says some of those cards allowed for both, which is nice. Yep, and a few capacitors that are screaming recap me now. Yes, I will not be testing that card. All right, this next item comes to us from an eBay seller in Virginia. So, hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Virginia. In fact, I have bought from this seller before, and I will buy from this seller again. And the long box should probably be a clue as to which seller it might be. But anyways, we have... there we go. We have some components. So, first of all, we have a tube of 74 LS195 chips so that I can fix my Apple II clone motherboard. So I will need to order some more chips, but Husker Fan had 74 LS195, so I ordered them. Embarrassing side note, I found a tube of 74 S195s I had ordered for computer. Those are the wrong type. But the second item is a tube of 25 megahertz oscillators from Ralton, or Raltron. I believe these are 50 parts per million tolerance, 25 megahertz oscillators, TTL. And anyways, 25 of these was like cheap enough that I went ahead and just bought 25 of these instead of buying like a couple from Mauser. And then, last but not least, I'd been watching these for a while. Husker Fan had some 387DX math coprocessors from IIT. So I picked up a pair of them. They're, I think, basically $750 a piece, which is a pretty good price for a 387DX math coprocessor. These will run up to 33 megahertz. So there we go. And now, this next potential regret, which I hinted about in the chat earlier. So we'll see if anyone even possibly gets the reference before I open the box. It isn't a 15 by 15 box, 4 inches deep. So you can put your guesses in the chat while we say hi to Rudy's Retro Intel. Hi, Rudy. Welcome. My comment, I believe, had to do with, what was my comment? So, I don't usually chime into the chat while I am watching the intro video so I don't get lost up in things. But George Something 5 had said, Wheel of Regrets, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the lesson we won't learn. And my reply was 4 is the number of the current lesson I won't learn. So there you go. 4 is the number. Thomas Armstrong is guessing an Apple LC. That is a bold guess. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that there's probably little packing material between this box and the box that should be inside of here, which is possibly going to give it away. Rudy is guessing a 486. That is a very good guess. That would be something that has the number 4 in it that I might have been buying. I will also... Gutbomb says, if that's a VIC-20... VIC-20s don't really follow the number 4. I also... you might want to look at the thumbnail for this stream. Stian says, I have no idea how I'd price an 8387 FPU these days. Socket Wrench says golf balls 4. Swoosh. Mega says it's a box. Yes. Stian says a Cisco Aeronet. Oh, yeah, we're gonna possibly give this one away. Stian says just because the box shape is so close. Rudy's guessing a video card. It might be able to do video. Stian says Trident. No. Although, I believe you could put a Trident card in it. Wink, wink. Oh, I should probably also warn you that this has more to do with probably editing videos than being vintage. Because you all are, yeah. When you actually figure out what this is, you're going to be like, oh, that's what you meant by the thumbnail. Rudy says, Trident video card with a 486. Try newer. Gutbomb says, I really hope it's a storage bin. Maybe I'll reveal a little bit of the box. Rudy's guessing a 486 motherboard. Stian says a 68040. Kevin says miscellaneous DVDs. I'm trying to give you the biggest hint I can. Mega, all right, Mega's on the right direction. A Ryzen board, yes. A case of Four Locos, says Socket Wrench. All right, it's modern, yes. I said it's for editing videos. By the way, if anyone's wondering what my Trident reference was, I believe MSI has a line of video cards. That's MSI Trident. Or maybe that's for their RAM. I don't know. Yeah, this is modern. This is for... Rudy says 4 kittens in a box. Ian says, and I believe you will. Actually, I don't have an MSI Trident video card. And I'm going... unfortunately, a new video card is out of the question for this build. In fact, actually... Pentium MMX says Trident made video cards in the 90s. Yes. And MSI makes... Gutbomb says, who holds the Trident trademark now? No one. The Trident trademark expired. Which is why I have a small line of Trident merch on my merch store. Because I looked and the Trident trademark from Trident Microsystems expired. It was not renewed. Yeah, Ian says Justin ought to, yeah. All right, so we should have, this is what I think it is, this should actually be a Gigabyte Aorus B550 Aorus Elite AX V2 gaming motherboard. Obviously, yeah. Tip jar goal. Actually, the tip jar goal might go towards another motherboard. Because actually, there is a reason why I bought this motherboard, and that's that. Alright, so let's... Yeah, we're going to build a little drama here. So, why am I buying a motherboard for video editing? Well, this weekend, I was trying to figure out what to do with some computer parts. So, my current streaming computer is a Windows 10 computer. Windows 10, the extended support, is going to expire coming in October. My video editing computer is... I was trying to replace it with a MacBook, but I don't know why, but my MacBook Air keeps, like, the solid state drive I bought for it keeps ejecting while I'm not here, and unsafe removal, and I just don't like that. And the Thunderbolt dock I bought for it, for some reason, stopped working and blah, 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 blah. So I'm kind of taking that as a sign to maybe go back to a PC for video editing, as much as I'd like to use maybe Apple Final Cut and Motion, but I don't know. Having trouble with the MacBook Air I bought, it's kind of starting to become an eBay regret. There could be a hardware problem with it, I will admit. Anyways, so my streaming computer, Windows 10, out of support. The video editing PC I tried to replace with the MacBook Air is a Threadripper, which generates a lot of heat, makes it very annoying to edit videos in the summer because it adds heat into the room, even just being on and not editing videos. I looked at the Windows 11 supported processors list, and actually the Threadripper I have, which was supported by Windows 11 initially, has actually been pulled off the supported list. So anyways, long story short, I decided that, okay, other part of the story. I have a friend, she gave me some of the computer parts that her late husband had bought, and some of his computer collection, and some of the stuff was newer than others. There was one computer in particular that caught my eye. She just gave them all to me and just told me if I don't use any of the parts, pass them forward. Anyways, one of the computers caught my eye because it looked fairly new. And turns out it has a Ryzen 9, there's a Ryzen 9 3900X in it. But it's like a micro ATX board. So anyways, I bought a full ATX board so that I had enough slots that I could use it with for possibly setting up a video editing PC. With the 3900X, RAM is going to be funny. I'm going to I've got a 2080 Founders Edition that theoretically works. I think it was the power supply in my video editing computer is going to need replaced. Anyways, I'm going to try to cobble together something with parts. Unfortunately, the Threadripper RAM I have is really not great for a desktop processor, but whatever. We're going to do something. Yeah, as long as everything works, the 3900X should work very well for video editing with the 2080. Yes, David Starbuck. What's the number 4 about? Oh, this is an AM4 motherboard. Socket AM4. Also, I had 4 boxes on my bench when I typed that, so it was a double reference. We're getting to opening this box to see if there's actually a gigabyte motherboard in here. Anyways, getting to the tip jar. So after looking at the supported processors list for 25H2 Windows 11, I started looking at motherboards, and I've settled on I'd like to build an 8th gen Intel system with a gigabyte Z390 motherboard and like the i7 8086K. The Aorus Z9 or Z390 motherboard. Wait, is it Z390? Yeah, I think it's the Z390 is the Intel chipset. That one has enough PCI Express slots that I could put my streaming hardware in it and it would all work. And I have an NVMe drive. So the tip jar goal is going towards getting a 8th gen Intel ATX board and a Core i7 8086K, because I think that's a cool processor. And that will be, so this is for video editing. The 8th gen is, yeah, David Starbuck says the Z390 is indeed for 8th and 9th gen Intel. So assuming there's not someone out there that says, hey, you know, I got a gigabyte Z390 motherboard, I'd be willing to donate you. The tip jar is going towards Intel motherboard and CPU. And again, I will have to scrounge RAM. I've got the video card I have in this computer will work for streaming. It's one David Starbuck had given me. It's great for streaming. RAM is probably going to be my problem. But anyways, one step at a time, we're going to at least get something together. I think I have just enough DDR4 RAM that I will get something that will start to get me by, and we'll go from there. Anyways, all right, without further ado, oh yeah, and this motherboard and the 3900X are on the 25H2 supported list. So without further ado, I realize this is only a B550 motherboard. There's a catch. This one was sold for parts. Ah, yes. Now you know where the potential regrets comes in. So this motherboard supposedly works except for Wi-Fi. I don't need Wi-Fi. I'm going to be using wired Ethernet. So without further ado, all right, let's see what condition this board's in. Yeah, David says for single-purpose computer, 16 gigabytes of RAM should be enough. For streaming, if I'm only running OBS, I think I can get by with 16 gigabytes. It won't be fun, but we'll make it work until I can get more RAM. Also, I think if I go for 8 gigabyte DIMMs, I can get 4 of them for 32 gigs, and the 8 gigabyte ones are at least reasonable, because everyone wants more RAM. So, yeah, Mega says, I hear they're relaunching the 5800X 3D. That's the other thing. I can upgrade this, but for now, I'm just going to use the 3900X that was in the parts that I was given. So without further ado, all right. All right. It does look like we have an Aorus motherboard in here. I will... all right. I'm critiquing whoever opened this bag the first time. They opened it like a beast. Maybe at one point this was Mr. Beast's motherboard, but I don't know. They opened it like a beast. For me, I would rather just take the tape off the end and pull the motherboard out like a normal person, but whatever. Okay. There is another advantage to AM4, and that's the pins are on the CPU. So I didn't really have to worry about the seller of this computer horribly mismanaging the CPU socket while trying to pack it. Now, of course, the 8th gen Intel board, that might be another question. Oh, here we go. All right, we've got the Wi-Fi antenna. I was not sure if this was going to be included or not. All right, we've got, it looks like 2 SATA cables. We've got a, we've got a nice Aorus case badge. Oh, that's actually really nice. I think this is the first time I've bought a, I have another Aorus motherboard, but it was actually in a system that was a pre-build that I bought used, so I didn't actually get the privilege of having the nice, shiny Aorus case badge. Okay, looks like we've got, getting started. Oh, awesome! And we have the little, I do like Gigabyte, including the connector for the front panel pins. This is one reason why I like Gigabyte motherboards. Just the little touches. I also like Asus motherboards, but I guess in watching tech channels, some of the tech channels have reported Asus having trouble with updating BIOSes on some of their newer boards, so I kind of decided I would go with Gigabyte. Because it seems like Asus might have a higher chance of the board getting bricked during a firmware update than other brands. But I don't know how accurate that is, because... Anyways, so, alright, it does look like we've got an Aorus. The Aorus motherboard that it's supposed to be. This is the B550 Aorus Elite AXV2. The CPU socket appears to be in good shape. There's no thermal paste on it. That's good. I'm presuming that these were never populated. Let me zoom in case you all see something I missed. I still am going to inspect the board. I'll let you all guess in the chat how much I paid for this board. And I'm not, it was auction format. It supposedly works, but Wi-Fi is broken. And it was auction format, and I snagged it at the last moment. I will admit. Anyways, and it has the back plate, so there we go. So, oh, and it still has the peel here, which we'll peel that shortly. All right, so Gutbomb thinks I paid 20. Soccer Wrench thinks I paid 82. All right, we're gonna review. There's those caps. That all looks good. Oh, okay. I think that is silkscreen and not a scratch, although that is really weird. All right. I think those two caps are just not populated. We'll look on the bottom to make sure there's no flux or anything. So I think that's going to be the South Bridge heatsink. I am going to see if there happens to be... nope. Okay. No free NVMe SSDs. Bummer. All right. Seller remembered to remove them. So there's not a lot of SATA on this board, but that's fine. I'm going to use NVMe. It does have a USB 3.2 port on it, which will be handy. The case that it might go in does have a USB-C. Yeah, I'm going to go up. I didn't want to bring the CPU down with everything else because I didn't want to risk bending pins, so I will go upstairs and grab the CPU. All right, and on the bottom, I do watch Greg Salazar's Fix or Flop. I also watch Taekwondo's Boot or Blue Screen. So, but yeah, I do know Greg's got a problem with people building systems and managing to scratch up the mounting holes or short things, but it does look like this board is in good shape. So it's kind of a mystery why the Wi-Fi doesn't work. But anyways, David Starbucks says, pins can be unbent. Ask me how I know. Well, I would prefer not to have to unbend them because they're currently unbent. All right, so for testing, I am going to go upstairs and I'm going to grab the CPU. I guess I will also grab the heatsink that I have, but I don't know. It doesn't mount on the AMD stock mounting points. Oh. Mega says, well, the Wi-Fi is just a little M.2 card. Oh. Well, I don't know where the Wi-Fi card is, but it must be under the heatsink. All right, well, I guess if I need Wi-Fi and it's broken, then we'll probably... well, I guess I could probably replace the module. Yeah, David says, in my case, one of my cats yeeted the CPU off my desk. Yeah. Yeah, Mega says, whoever owned that board must have been using an aftermarket cooler and put the mounts back on when they sold it. But backwards. Oh. Well, I'm going to remove the mounts because they're going to interfere with me setting the CPU on top of the cooler on top of the CPU. Anyways. All right, let me go upstairs. I'm going to grab the CPU and I'm going to grab some DDR4 RAM. I've got 2 sticks that I found amongst the parts that my friend gave me. I don't know if the RAM works because it was in a bag and not in a computer, but we're going to give it a try. And I guess I should also grab a video card. Wait, I may have a video card down here. Oh, yes. It looks like I have a 1080 Ti down here. So, but my power supply may not have enough PCI Express power on it. David Starbucks says, "Oh yes, they are backwards. Good catch. The mount clip should be facing away. Facing away from. That's probably why I'm thinking they'll conflict. All right. Well, I will remove them and we'll go from there. All right. So let me go get RAM and the CPU and the cooling fan that I have, and I guess a video card. Let me see. I think I've got a video card upstairs that is. Preferably for this bench test, I'm trying to think what I have that won't require auxiliary power, because I only have I think it's only a 500-watt power supply. So it does have I think it's got PCI Express auxiliary power, but only like one plug. But I do need a video, because the 3900X, if I'm remembering my AMD part numbers correctly, does not have built-in video. So, all right. So anyways, yeah, let me go grab that, and yeah, G is the one with graphics. But interestingly enough, I believe the 3000 G series is not supported by Windows 11. There's an exception on the list for the G series. I think you have to have a 5000 series for Windows 11 support now. Seriously, I think Microsoft removed some CPUs from their supported list. Yeah, later they just started putting graphics in all of them. Anyways, I don't have a 5000 series. I got a 3000 series, so I'll have to go grab a video card. Anyways, let me go upstairs. Oh, David says 3000G series is actually Zen 1. That's why it's not supported, because Zen 1, of course, would not be supported. I think Windows 11, even at first, I think was like Zen 2 and up. And the Threadripper series I have was on the supported list because it's like, well, probably because otherwise their workstation support list would have looked really ridiculous at the time. Because it's like Zen 1 Plus for Threadripper 2000 series. But it supports embedded TPM, which is probably why it made the cut initially. But it's off the supported list now. Anyways, all right, let me go upstairs. Let me grab a few things. I will be back down, and I'll put the chill music on so you all can chill out. Texas, I request a recap of regrets when you return. Well, we're still working on regrets. Alright, so I have gone upstairs. I have grabbed the Ryzen 9 3900X, which I went ahead and put in the socket to not risk the pins. So there we go. Well, you missed the 2 clone Apple II disc controllers, the some parts, and a Mad Dog video card. This was the main item that I bought. Not the processor. The processor's... So, as a recap for anyone that just joined, the motherboard is the potential regret. Although I don't know if the processor works, but the processor came from parts that my friend gave me that were her late husband's, and the processor was in one of the computers she gave me. It's just it has a micro ATX motherboard in it, so I prefer, for what I'm going to use this processor for, if it works, I really wanted an ATX motherboard that I had all the PCI Express slots that I could. Or maybe more accurately, so it actually could use 2 NVMe drives instead of just 1, because that was probably... If the micro ATX board had had 2 NVMe slots, I probably would have just forgotten about trying to source another motherboard. But it only had 1 NVMe slot. Although, here's the funny thing. So I went and I'd forgotten that the computer that this processor was in, it actually had an MSI video card. I don't think it's a Trident, though. I think it's just possibly their standard. Yeah, it's just a Gaming X 6G card. It's a 1060, so it only needs 1 PCI Express power, which my power supply has, so I grabbed it. I don't know if it works, but it at least only needs 1 auxiliary power. There's no PCI slots on this, so... Anyways, so I do need to remove the heatsink brackets because they are installed backwards. And probably just as important, the cooling fan that I have. Well, actually, I think for the first test, I was just going to set the cooling fan on the processor, but I do need to remove those still. So let me see if I can find a screwdriver. So yeah, for testing, we've got that video card because it doesn't need auxiliary power, or well, it only needs 1 auxiliary power, which that I can supply. I am going to install the I'm not going to install the heatsink, at least not for the initial post. Actually, maybe I can just go ahead and install it. Yeah, I've got a better heatsink, David. Don't worry. This is just for testing. I have a couple of I have a Be Quiet, like Dark Rock 4 that is like new in box. don't exactly remember how I managed to... I don't exactly remember the entire details of the transaction. I seemingly remember trying to buy a heatsink on Amazon. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I buy the heatsink on Amazon, and yeah, this was a weird one. So I get a message from Amazon telling me that they got notice from the courier that the package was damaged and would not be delivered or something like that. So Amazon refunded me the money for the heatsink. And then, like a day or two later, after I get this message from Amazon and the refund, I get the box from Amazon, and there are absolutely zero signs of damage on it, like none. Not sure why I even got the email. So I think I remember contacting Amazon and telling them I got this message. It told me that it was damaged, and it wouldn't be delivered, but it was just delivered. What do I do? And the Amazon agent told me, there's no need to return it. We've already processed the refund. Keep it, donate it, trash it, whatever. We don't care. So I kept it because I don't know why it got declared as damaged. There's like nothing wrong with it. So all I can figure is that someone pushed the wrong button with the courier. Or something. And yeah, it was basically I think Amazon at that point didn't want to try to figure out how to charge me again. So they're like, well, so that's how I have a dark rock before, is because the courier declared the package damaged. So I just kind of held on to. I'm like, well, at some point I'll either use it or give it away. And it's just kind of been set aside. So apparently, when I do actually build this computer, assuming this board works, it'll get the Dark Rock 4. Assuming it fits the case. But anyways, so there we go. I think the CPU fan is this like light gray one. I'm just doing enough to test. So we'll at least get enough cooling on the CPU for testing. Soccer wrench says stick it in a pie. Yeah. Okay, so for testing, I've got two options. The computer that this processor was in had one Alloy stick of RAM. This is not normally a brand I would consider, but desperate times. It's a 16 gig module, so we may test it too. But I'm first going to try some RAM that was in this bag that was sticking in one of the other computers, because this is a Team Group 16 gig module. And there was another Team Group 16 gig module. And for video editing, if I can get 32 gigs to work, then we'll call that good enough for now. How about that? I don't know. I don't know why the RAM was just hanging out in that bag. We might find out that this RAM is bad. That might be why it was just sitting in the bag. It may also be totally fine, and kind of knowing what my friend's husband probably did with the computer. He ran flight simulators. It would not surprise me if the RAM got pulled out of the board at some point for faster RAM. And then that faster RAM potentially went in a newer computer. David's asking, what video editing software do I use? On PC, I use Premiere Pro. I know. Adobe software, but... Oh. I know. Yeah, I hate to disappoint, but I use Adobe software. All right. So I guess... All right, now, hopefully this video card has... Yes, it does have DVI out, because... my scaler... I don't have an HDMI cable handy to plug into my scaler, so we'll use DVI. All right. Well, the other thing is I do have 64 gigabytes of RAM in a Threadripper system that, well, although it's not 3200 megahertz RAM, it might be good enough for a system like this. So I may be able to, if this RAM works, I may be able to put 32 in the streaming computer and 64 in the video editing computer, kind of knowing Adobe software. Yeah, RAM speed's not that important for video editing, and actually for streaming, it's not really that important. Well, non-video game streaming, it's not really that important either. So I think I can put two computers together if I got working RAM. I think I got the RAM and I got video cards. So like the problematic parts I don't have to worry about. All right, so I got the video card, I got RAM, I got CPU, motherboard. It's sitting on something that shouldn't be shorted. I guess. I probably should turn the smart outlet on. That would. And let's see. Let's turn the smart outlet on. And let's see here. All right, I did see a flicker of light from the motherboard. So it probably means we have standby power. So now it's probably just a matter of... Let's see, does this motherboard happen to have a power on button on the board? No, it would appear as if it does not. All right, so let me see if I can figure out where the front panel power connector is. Yeah, I'm purposely not going for a DDR5 system. I have, because I'd have trouble finding DDR5 RAM. All right. Speaker, power LED. All right. So that's hard drive, reset, power LED speaker. So I think that's power right there. All right. All right. So the video card, we got a MSI light on it. We got RGB. We got some lights on the motherboard. Let me see here. Do we have any debug LEDs? Debug LEDs. Ooh. Hey, looky there. New CPU installed. FTPM PSP NV corrupted or FTPM PSP NV structure changed. Oh, I need to plug in a keyboard. Oh, the fan spun down on the video card. That's probably because it's now the BIOS is actually controlling the video card, and my USB keyboard ran away. Can't you tell I've been working on computer for the past several weeks? Because my USB keyboard has run away, run away, run away. Yeah, it's doing things. I know I haven't absolutely. All right, hold please while I find the USB keyboard. Oh wait. Is that a USB keyboard? Yes. Found a USB keyboard. All right, so let's plug this in to. All right, and let me go and press Y. Jesse says, I question the direction our service manager is going in. They threw away a 9th gen i7 HP workstation laptop. Keep that thing during the times of high prices. That is so wasteful. Oh, did I bumped the PVI cable? I saw the MSI logo for the video. Oh, no, there we go. BIOS has been reset. Please reconfigure your BIOS. All right. It's not under warranty. Yeah, that is awful. It's not under warranty, but that tech still works great. That would make me so want to. Ah, there we go. Team group. All right, so it looks like we've got the RAM. We've got. Let's load optimized defaults by pressing F7. Let's plug in this thumb drive that may or may not have memtest on it. Let's hit F2 for advanced mode. All right, so this is BIOS version FD from 2023, so we'll probably update that. Save and exit. I got the thumb drive plugged in. Ian says, PC building is not what it used to be. Jesse says, now computer shortage. Sigh. Yes. Alright, I do not know if this is the MIM test thumb drive, or if this is like Part Dead Magic, or if this is a Windows install thumb drive, or possibly like... Oh, it may be like a nothing thumb drive. Alright, let me... Oop. Let me just pull the thumb drive and see what's on it. It may also be a thumb drive I used to update the BIOS on a Threadripper board. So there may be nothing this computer likes on it. Alright. And obviously not a Windows install. Oh, yeah. Yeah, X399 Aorus Extreme .f6d. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is yeah, alright. Yeah, it ain't booting that. That's not a MIM test thumb drive. Actually, let's go ahead and update the BIOS, and then I will make a MIM test thumb drive. Alright, so support, download center. This is the Aorus B550. Hold on. Oh, hold on. B550 Aorus Elite AXV2. You have to type in the part number in the correct order. Oh, and I need the revision. Ooh, I do not know what revision. Revision. Who's got the revision? Is this a 1? Oh, please. Well, I'll see if I can see a revision number on this board. Yeah, 1.4. All right. So revision 1.4. Very good. Spotted it in the corner of the board. So if you've got one of these boards and you are looking for where the revision number is, it is in the, I guess on the card edge, on the card slot side of the board, furthest corner from the CPU. So it's like down in this corner of the board. So you might have to remove if you've got a PCI Express card in slot PCI EX 1_2, you might have to remove that card to be able to see the version number. Although you might be able to see it with the card in there if you use a flashlight. Alright, so let's see. BIOS version. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Gigabyte actually still supports this board. They actually released a BIOS in April. Very nice. Probably one reason why Microsoft still supports the 3000 series. All right, so we'll go ahead and update the BIOS here real quick. All right, so let's go ahead. I guess the one nice thing, since I don't need to use a flashback feature, is I think you just copy the firmware file to the thumb drive, and then we'll use the BIOS. There we go. All right. Jack says, fortunately, I picked up a pair of 24 terabyte server drives before the component shortages started. David says, I replaced my 4 10 terabyte drives, 14 terabyte drives, and moved the 10 terabyte drives offsite for cold storage. All right. Oh, I did not press delete fast enough. That's nice. Where's the reset? All right. Oh, that is. All right, let's spam the delete key. Spamming delete keys, good for old and new computers. All right, so let's see here. Let's see, QFlash, that's their built-in. Let's see here. There's the file. Yep. Yes, I'm sure I want to update the BIOS. All right. Press to start. Yes, we are on an uninterruptible power supply. Oh, but this board is not on the battery backed outlet. Oh well. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Worst comes to worst, I guess I get to remove the BIOS chip and flash one with a programmer. I just use QFlash. Yeah. Actually, it probably has a recovery method. Oh, Mega says QFlash works without the system even being on. Oh, okay. I just have to pull out the manual and see how to use it. Jesse says YOLO. Well, all right. Let me see here. Oh, MIM tests. Alright, we're almost there. I got MemTest downloaded. Fun fact, MemTest downloaded faster than this BIOS update. Also, MemTest is a very small program. Reboot in 1 second, 0 seconds. We rebooted. Yeah. Jack says, I also did 3 hours of yard work in much more reasonable temperatures. I'm currently drinking sparkling water that tastes vaguely of raspberry and nectarine. David Starbucks says, 93 degrees is a reasonable temperature here in Florida. Oh, I guess we should, because we updated the, Agisa. David says, it was 99 the other day and 90% humidity. My poor HVAC system was crying for mercy. All right. Let's create a MemTest disk here. Oh, excellent. It actually went ahead and just went into the BIOS, so we can double check settings. Let's see here. Let me run the MemTest USB installer. All right. We have a MemTest graph. Actually, I probably had one, but the other day I discovered it was bad when I tried to format it for something else. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, that all looks good. Since I have such a pathetic cooler on it, I'm not going to try to run the RAM at full speed. Let's see here. Although, let me make sure that we can... Oh, wait a minute. Precision boost overdrive. I want to turn that off. Because we've got a kind of pathetic CPU cooler. Alright, I think that's all good. Save and exit setup. Alright. Oh, there we go. And we've got MemTest. And our CPU is running at like 60 degrees C, 66 degrees C. Looks like it's, well, I can't say that I necessarily put the thermal paste on the greatest, so... Also, it's probably cooling down from where precision boost overdrive was turned on. So it's probably going to normalize here. David says, my favorite video game. Soccer Wrench says, Trina's favorite program. Jack says, yes. Yes, we will see if this team group RAM is going to be a team player. David says, those aren't bad CPU temps considering that dinky cooler. Yeah, I think this is actually a cooler for a, like a, maybe a 3500 or a 3600. I mean, I could kind of somewhat feel the heat coming off the CPU. The graphics card's like, why don't we play a game? We are playing a game graphics card. It's called MemTest 86 Plus. David says you wouldn't want to try that cooler on a 5900X or a 5950X. No. Oh, I completely forgot. I told people to guess in the chat how much I paid for this board, and then I completely forgot to answer the question. All right, let me go back and look. So, this board auction style format, seller lists it for parts, Wi-Fi doesn't work. We may find out Wi-Fi doesn't work, but not until we install Windows probably, or boot some Linux on it. Starting bid was like 20 or 25 bucks. I think there was a bidder on it when I placed my bid. I want it for $28. I was willing to take the gamble for $28. And quite honestly, for $28, if the Wi-Fi doesn't work, so be it, as long as Ethernet works. And that was just the motherboard. I had the processor, and I had this RAM. Thanks to my friend giving me some parts. So... and then this video card was in amongst the parts, too, so... honestly, for the video editing computer, I'll put my 2080 Founders Edition in it. Which I did, which I bought on Marketplace for like 200 bucks. It was like a year and a half ago. It was probably a good price then. It probably is still a good price. Honestly, I should probably carefully take the card apart and repaste it. Now, it might need one of the fans replaced, but... Oh, Mega says, oh, I meant to say the Wi-Fi is probably just right behind the antennas on the I/O plate. If not, it's a little M.2 card. All right, well, the I/O the I/O shield is right now on the board. I don't know how it attaches. So I can't remove it now to see if I see a card under the heatsink. But I will look and see if there's a module. Mega says they made a special plug for it, which is cool. All right, well, that's nice to know that it's possible that I can actually replace the module if that's what's bad. I also kind of wondered, although when I got the board, I see that antenna bag has been opened. I wondered if maybe they didn't plug the antenna in and it didn't work, but I have a feeling there's probably I kind of wonder if there's maybe a cold solder joint or something on the Wi-Fi card. Mega says it basically just plugs into the board like an expansion card does, only it's like a micro-sized PCIe connector thing. Actually, you know, while we let MemTest run, Mega says, I don't know why I'm so fascinated by this. It makes me wish more stuff had that little plug. Actually, let me see if I can find that Wi-Fi card. You know, I bet if I look, I bet there's someone selling the Wi-Fi card. Okay, I see sellers selling Wi-Fi cards. Oh, I should probably not search for card. Let me search for module. Oh, I found TPM modules. That's not what I'm looking for. All right. Maybe I got to actually search some other site than eBay. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, that might be the module right there. Or at least for some motherboard. They're generic cards. That's not a gigabyte thing. Oh, then it's probably an M2 card. It's probably an M.2 card, and probably a USB key. It's probably a USB device. So actually, I'm looking at an auction for a module right here. It's marked for a gigabyte. It probably is the module. It's an Intel 9560 NGW. That is probably totally the... It may not be the one that Gigabyte included with this motherboard, but I bet it would work with the motherboard. It's probably the same. This motherboard probably shipped with the Realtek one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. David says, yeah, any M.2 Wi-Fi card will work. The Hackintosh nerds swap them out all the time for compatible ones. Yeah, USB, Bluetooth, PCIe, Wi-Fi on the same card. Yeah, that totally was probably a compatible card. It was like $25. It wasn't for an Intel. For an Intel one. It was the entire module too. Oh, yeah, here's a Gigabyte B560 gaming one. That's... Oh, yeah, looks like I can totally repair the Wi-Fi for like $30 or so. In fact, I bet I could probably just buy the card itself, but I'll have to take the backplate off and confirm. Yeah, Mega says will be easier to replace if the antenna go to somewhere else. Otherwise, if it's the plug kind, it might have a little frame that it uses to fit into Gigabyte's design. Yeah, the ones I found on eBay have a little frame. And it with two mounting screws that look like it screws in through the bottom of the motherboard. Yeah, but one of them is an Intel chip that AC 9560 with Bluetooth 5. Let me see what Wi-Fi revision that is. That's Wi-Fi 5. It would probably work. I think this motherboard shipped with Wi-Fi 6. Here we go. This one's an AW. Oh, yeah, this one's probably a I found one. It's probably a Wi-Fi 6 one. Yeah, here we go. This one's probably the actual module. It's $30. All right, I'll watch that. It's a Wi-Fi 6 card. It's probably close to what's in this one. But if it's a card on a frame, I might be able to just get the card itself and then swap the card on the frame. Yeah, the board itself goes for like 10 to $15, it looks like. Buying the module with the frame is closer to 30. So if I can confirm it's just a standard card and it has the proper mounting screws to hold a standard card, then which it probably does, then yeah, I'll probably just buy the card itself. Because then I can just get a card that's that I can see for sure is a Wi-Fi 6E card, because I might as well. Oh, Mega says, no, I meant you paid $28 for the whole motherboard. Yeah, oh, yeah. The Wi-Fi module may be more expensive than I paid for the entire motherboard. Yes. This is what I'm going to call I'm calling this one a win, because I don't need Wi-Fi. I can just use Ethernet. But if I can replace the Wi-Fi, then I will, because then that'd let me take the computer somewhere else in the house and not have to drag an Ethernet cable from somewhere. David says, yeah, man, I'd just forgo Wi-Fi if you don't really need it. I mean, it's one of those things that if I can find the module and it's cheap enough, I might fix it. But If it's not keeping the thing from working, I may not. So, first impressions of an Aorus motherboard. I mean, it's nice. I think I could see myself buying another Aorus motherboard in the future. I guess I have kind of always liked gigabyte motherboards, even back in the day. Oh, Mega says you can save a PCIe lane just by getting rid of it. Well, now the important detail is, if I remove the module, will the motherboard allocate that PCIe lane to something else? Or did they design the motherboard in a way that that lane goes to the Wi-Fi slot and they're not anywhere else? I mean, I may remove the module if it's malfunctioning just so it doesn't interfere. David says, yes, if you disable the Wi-Fi in BIOS, it will let you use its resources, usually. Oops. So I am looking in this bag that I found in the one of the systems that my friend gave me, and just to see what else is in this bag. Yeah, the system that RAM was in, that this bag was in, that the RAM was in, it's a 6th gen Intel system, I believe. I don't know what processor's in it because it's got I didn't want to remove the water cooler block from it. It's a integrated water cooler, so. But yeah, it's I think it's a Z270 motherboard. No, I don't think it is. Or maybe it is. But yeah, it's definitely an Intel, like, uh, I think it's a 6th gen. If I had to guess, I think it's a 6th gen system. Well, maybe that is the manual for that motherboard. I haven't. Think it. I'm letting the computers air out because they were in the basement, and right now they're in my garage, kind of airing out. I haven't plugged that. I haven't plugged any of the systems in. For some of them, I probably still won't just simply plug them in because the power supplies aren't mounted in the case, which kind of has me wondering why in the world the power supply is loose. Like, maybe the power supplies have failed, but Jack says it's not good when a computer needs to air out. Yeah, they smelled of smoke. That kind of was letting them air out so that when I brought them into the basement, they were not going to contribute to ambient smells. It's also why I probably will not power them up with power supplies that are in them, at least not without taking the power supply outside and dusting them really well. But the computer with the Ryzen motherboard, like pulling the processor out. Like, yeah, that's yeah, those parts are kind of aired out enough that I'm not really smelling the smoky smell. Again, if I was going to use this video card for longer than testing and the fans were actually going to spin up, I might take... actually, it's fairly clean. I honestly am not sure the Ryzen system was actually used much. Quite honestly. It smelled of smoke, but I don't know that it was used much, because it was fairly clean inside. It kind of struck me as maybe it was built and then found to maybe not be powerful enough for the flight simulator software. Because this is the cooler that was on it, so with that cooler, I mean, it was going to thermal throttle at some point. I'm kind of wondering if it might have been a temporary system for some reason. But anyways, I'll put the processor and this RAM to good use. Yeah, so far this RAM's testing good. Which is good. I mean, okay, so I think given the speed of this RAM, it's not a performance RAM kit, but hey, it's just video editing. Yeah, DDR4 in this economy. Yeah, we'll go for the I have it, so I'm going to use it. Yeah, David says RAM is RAM, very little effect on real world. Speed is very little effect on real world use. Yeah. Vegas says, I just read that DDR2 production has been sold out. Actually, there have been companies making DDR2 to support usually the older memory processes are for longer life products like industrial and medical products. Although it wouldn't surprise me if someone swooped in and bought some DDR2 production capacity for something else. Yeah, David says maybe DDR2 is needed for spares and some mission critical industrial things. Yeah. I mean, some of that DDR2 might have been going to, like, computer memory upgrade kits for older computers at a premium price, probably, but yeah, it was probably really going for like industrial, medical, like mission critical type hardware. Yeah, David says even military stuff uses old stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, production costs shot up on it for sure because any company making DDR2 is doing that at the cost of not being able to make a like DDR3 or DDR4 that would be at a smaller production node, and so you'd get more chips per wafer. Because that DDR2 is going to be at an older process node. I don't think they'd get a return on investment to try to process node bump it after so far. Any DDR2 that's being made now is probably at whatever the last process node was for DDR2 when it was new. Mega says, I just bought two 8GB DDR3L sticks, and it wasn't really that expensive, but I bet the higher density chips are more desirable. Yeah, and there is sort of a supply and demand on the older memory that although, yeah, it's also possible those memory sticks might have been made a while ago. And the thing is, if the memory's been incorporated onto a product, generally, if a company is buying memory to put into a new product, they are not going to buy basically what would be used memory chips to then put in their product. So those memory sticks would have gotten a pass on being put on something else because they were probably already made. Yeah, Mega says AI really hasn't come for the lower density sticks. Yeah, that's the other thing. AI needs high density. Well, this memory passed. So, I am curious. I restarted the computer. Oh, well. All right, I am curious. All right, so we did get so these two team group memory sticks here, two 16 gig sticks, they work. I mean, they're like CL22, 22, 2252 sticks. So nothing like super high performance. In fact, they don't have heat spreaders on them, but hey, memory's memory. Now, I am curious about this alloy stick. I just have the one. And I don't know. Let's see here. Put it in A2. All right, I am curious. Since I got Mem Test out, Lazy Bite Boy says, the military probably still uses core memory. Never mind, DDR2, lol. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of pass, yes. All right. Might as well run mem test on this memory stick here. Oh, it's actually interesting. Despite the fact that there's a class action lawsuit against Team Group that their memory doesn't default to the speed that's on the label, I think the memory that I just tested defaults to the speed that's on the label. Now, this alloy stick, on the other hand, it looks like it defaults slower than the speed that's on the label. Also, apparently, Oloy is Chunwell. All right, we'll see if this stick is. Oh, you all can't see Mim test because David says up to a few years ago, air traffic control systems here in the U.S. ran on old IBM Big Iron using core memory. Lazy Bite Boy says in Japan just got rid of their floppy disks for their postal service like 2 years ago. David says the military still uses 8-inch floppies for ballistic missile navigation computers. Oh, I thought they'd gone to Whopper. I guess that was just a whopper of a story from that movie. Lazy Bite Boy says 8-inch floppies. Now that's what I call an air gap. David says you can't hack what isn't connected to the outside world. I just hope they never hook him up to Skynet. David says the Terminator was a documentary. Prove me wrong. All right. Hey, Dave. Dave says, long time no see. Oh, welcome, Dave. We're just running mim test on this sticker RAM here. The motherboard is the potential regret, although the motherboard's testing fine. The RAM came from parts I got from my friend that was from her late husband's computer collection. I just figured while I had this motherboard on the bench, I'd mim test this 16 gigabyte stick. Might come in handy knowing I've got a extra 16 gigabyte DDR4 stick. Oh. Alright. Well, still testing fine. So I guess the regret score for this motherboard is can't regret it too much, it works. So this will be the platform for the next generation of my video editing computer. And yes, I do have a better heatsink than the one I'm using for testing. So it looks like, it does look like I got 32 gigs of RAM. And, well, actually, probably what I'll do is I've got a 64 gig set in one of the Threadripper systems. I probably will actually take that and put it in the video editing system. Yeah, this one has 4 slots. And then that 32 gigs of RAM will probably be, I will probably put that in the motherboard I'm going to get for the next generation of the streaming computer. The, like, 8th gen Intel motherboards. That's the coffee tip. I guess, links in the description, goals right there. But 8th gen Intel has enough PCI Express slots, and a Z390 chipset distributes them right. Plus, I can use an i7 8086K, which is one of the I think that was an anniversary CPU. And 8th gen Intel was Coffee Lake. Who can complain about Coffee Lake? I guess lots of people could. Oh, David's asking, how many PCI lanes do I need? All right. I need 16 lanes for the video card. I mean, for streaming, could I use 8? Sure. But that's not where the problem comes in. The problem comes in that I have a video capture card that needs 4 lanes. David Starbucks says, I'd imagine most modern boards should work. We'll get to that in a moment. But I need a 4-lane slot, and it actually has to have 4 lanes. One of my capture cards needs 4 lanes. And then I have another capture card that's a 1-lane card. And I want to be able to have 2 NVMe drives. I only need 1 to start, but I want to be able to add a second drive should I need it. And that's where the problem comes in, that I'm leaning towards 8th gen Intel, because it's on the Windows 11 supported list. And the Z390 chipset, at least on the Gigabyte Aorus boards, you've got your 16 slots for the video card, no problem there. But the board is laid out such that there is a 4-lane slot that does not share its lanes with anything else. So I don't have to worry about adding a card and losing lanes there. So there's the 1 capture card. It also has 2 NVMe slots that get 4 lanes. So I would have the 2 NVMe drive capability. I only need 1 to start, but I want to be able to have 2 for future expansion. And then it does have enough 1-channel slots that share the slot. One of them, I think they share the slot with the SATA. And I don't need SATA, so that's not a conflict there. But the 1-lane slots don't steal from the 4-lane slot. Because if we go back to 6th gen Intel and some of their chipsets, those 1-lane slots start stealing from the 4-lane slot. And that's a problem. Doing the math, I need 29 lanes, but if they're laid out in the right way, then we're good. I think 8th gen Intel has enough. When you add the lanes the CPU gives you and the lanes that the chipset give you, there's enough lanes, as far as I know. I could go Ryzen. But it seems like but I would need to get a I mean, I could go AM4. The right AM4 board would have enough lanes as well, but I would have to do I would need an X570 motherboard. I couldn't use the B550 and have the right lanes in the right places for the streaming computer. I would need an X570 board, and then I'd have to buy another Ryzen CPU. And interestingly enough, I think the 3000 series Ryzens aren't horribly expensive used. But the 5000 series, it starts to get a bit expensive. David, the problem with the Threadripper systems are they're off the supported list for Windows 11. I can't up yeah, I'm there's no installing the latest version of Windows 11 on the Threadripper systems I have, because they're the Threadripper 2000 series. Plus they generate a lot of heat. Good for winter, not for summer. Well, David, you say the support list is just a suggestion. I can tell you that Windows Update has stopped offering major updates for on the Windows systems I have that have processors that are off the supported list. Also, I start to get really uncomfortable when we start working around supported lists. I've been bitten by that before. All right, Dave says, I'll be sending something out to you in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's untested, but I'm pretty sure it functions and looks beautiful. You won't be disappointed. All right. David says, Windows 11 IoT is the solution to Windows 10 IoT. Just saying. Well, I'll look into it. But it's when it comes to the streaming computer, I want it to just work, and I don't want there to be workarounds that come back to haunt me. Also, isn't Windows Internet of Things supposed to be for Internet of Things? I don't get using that additional Windows for other uses. Mega says, I can't believe a Threadripper isn't good enough anymore. Yeah, you gotta have like a Threadripper, I don't remember if the 3000 series Threadrippers were on the list. Yeah, the 2000 series Threadrippers are off the list. They used to be on it, but they're off. Well, I am treading lightly when thinking about Windows versions because I've I've been bitten before when using non-supported operating systems on computer. You can ask me about my past experiences with OpenCore, and I will tell you, it took me a long time before I even bothered to try OpenCore Legacy Patcher because of my experiences with OpenCore. Lazy Bite Boy says Windows 11 is barely stable running recommended parts, never mind off list ones. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a Lenovo ThinkPad Carbon X1. It's 6th gen Intel. It's off the supported list. It's I realized the other day that it's stuck at 23H2, and Windows Update is not offering 25H2 for it. Probably because 6th gen Intel is off the supported list. I'm pretty sure if I look on my Threadrippers, it's the same deal. They're not being offered the latest version because they're off the supported list. David Starbucks says 6th gen was never supported on Windows 11. Core started with 8th gen. Actually, David, I believe that it was there were a few 6th gen Intel processors that actually were on the supported list. I am having trouble finding which ones were on the list initially, but there were a few 6th gen Intel parts that were not like the others, and they actually were on the Windows 11 list, and I think that ThinkPad that I have is using one of those processors because I did nothing special and I got Windows 11 installed on it. Because I think the processor that's in it was one of the very few 6th gen processors that were on the supported list at first, but they are off now, all of them. Yeah, Mega's asking, weren't select systems upgraded to 11 outside the list? Yes, I think there were a few select ones that initially were supported outside the list. And I want to say it might have been vendor specific, and I want to say that Lenovo may have been the one that yeah, it's a ThinkPad. I want to say that because I didn't do anything special to install Windows 11 on it. In fact, Microsoft offered the upgrade. So I'm thinking that whatever processor's in it is one of the few 6th gen parts that was actually offered the update. And maybe it's because Lenovo. It is quite possible Lenovo paid Microsoft for supporting their ThinkPad, because that would certainly be a differentiator of, hey, you buy one of our ThinkPads and it'll support Windows 11. David says, mine is a ThinkPad as well. It's just from 2011. But wait a minute. You know, maybe, oh, wait. My ThinkPad, it's not 6th gen. It's 7th gen. I just realized. It's 7th gen Intel, which is also off the list now. I think that's why it was initially supported, is I think there were some 7th gen what used to be on the list. That's right. 6th gen is something else entirely. It's a 7th gen Intel, because I just realized it's like the 70. It's one of the crummy 2-core 7th gen i7s. Yeah, I was telling someone, hey, my ThinkPad's got an i7. They're like, i7? That's great. Yeah, it's one of the 2-core ones. Oh, well, that's not so great. That's right. I got it mixed up with something else. It was the 7th. It's a 7th gen Core i7. Don't let the i7 fool you. It's only 2-core. Mega says, sorry, I know it's annoying, and I'm sure you've heard it a bunch of times, but have you tried producing videos and streaming on Linux yet? Seems like you have a choice of which kind of headache you want. David says, well, he uses Adobe for video editing, and a lot of the capture cards don't work on Linux either. And therein lies the problem, Mega. While I am sure that if I put my mind to it, I could probably learn a different video editing software, and if I'm correct in remembering, DaVinci Resolve does have a Linux version. And I certainly don't need the professional features of DaVinci Resolve. The problem is that my main capture card is not supported by Linux. In fact, I am somewhat afraid um, that it might not be supported by Windows 11, but I'm fairly sure the drivers will install on Windows 11, because I don't think Windows 11 changed the driver model, so I'm fairly sure the drivers will install. Mega says, well, I figured I'd get it out of there. But yeah, yes, clearly this is not a vintage PC. I bought a non-vintage motherboard for video editing. You are correct. This is not a vintage computer. We're testing a DDR4 stick that was in some parts that I got from a friend. But the motherboard I bought from eBay for video editing. Yeah, so the problem is the capture card I have is not... It's pretty much a Windows capture card. I haven't found anything that replaces it well enough that I could say, well, I can try Linux. It's also the same reason I don't stream on Mac. I'd have to find another capture card, and I've seen enough people with Mac try to stream on Macs with lots of USB devices, and they have trouble keeping them all connected with OBS. So there's that. I doubt that problem happens with Linux, but I would have to buy new capture cards, so that's why I haven't thought about switching to Linux for streaming. Or, well, let me phrase it this way. I've thought about switching to Linux for streaming, but it all falls back down to I'd have to buy another capture card. So, and my main capture card is actually a high-end card. Mega's asking, what capture card, by the way? Now I'm curious. It's a, it's like a $1,600 capture card that I bought on eBay used, so it only cost like $200. It's the, hold on. I can tell you what it is. I've had it for so long. I gotta look up what it is again. It's Vision. It's a DataPath Vision. And I have the it is the, I think it's the Vision RGB E2S. Oh, that doesn't look right. Oh, it may be the Vision RGB E1S. Oh, that doesn't look right either. Okay, I think it's the Vision RGB E2S, but I think it's an older... I think it might be an older model of the card, because the picture they have on their website is missing... Well, actually, they do seemingly have a Linux driver, but... Well, maybe there is a Linux driver for the card, but yeah, it's not just another Elgato card. Yeah. Well, I also have a Blackmagic capture card. My table cam is on a Blackmagic, or yeah, Blackmagic capture card. It's just the Blackmagic intensity. Yeah, David says you can get the data path to work in Linux, but it's a major pain. Yeah, that's and unfortunately, I don't think. Unfortunately, their Linux driver was last updated in 2024. Um, so I'm pretty sure Blackmagic has Linux drivers. They probably work pretty good. I'm really not sure how good the data path drivers are for Linux, especially because they were last updated a couple years ago and they don't support the latest version of Ubuntu, which I think is what, 26 LTS. I mean, they might install. The other problem is I've got various programmers that are Windows, come with Windows software, and I really don't want to have to try to figure out how to use everything in Linux. Because sadly, there are some programmers I have that just were never supported on Linux. It's not to say that someone hasn't come out with a Linux program I don't know about for them, but yeah, as David says, Windows just works. Yeah, it's I'm not against Linux. It's just I know that these capture cards work with Windows. The programmers I have work with Windows. So I stream from Windows. How many Eagles are on that motherboard? Um, Mega says, not trying to argue here, but Windows literally just doesn't work. We just got done talking for an hour about how Windows doesn't work on a ton of hardware. Well, I know because Microsoft removed it from the supported list, but because their reasoning is, quote, um, that it has to do with the security of the platforms, i.e., all of Intel's vulnerabilities as of late. Is I think what they were, or the like all the various processor vulnerabilities. I I I mean I'm trying to keep an open mind, but the problem is I don't have an extra set of streaming hardware anymore. So I can't set up a Linux computer very easily to even see how much of a trouble it would be to switch to Linux for streaming. So I would have to somehow shoehorn another SSD into this computer, and I'm out of slots on it. Sure, I guess I could swap the SSD out for another one and install Linux and see how hard it is, but I don't. Fortunately, I don't have a second data path card. If I if I can, let me put it this way, if I can find a way to safely try Linux, and the thing is, I would need to actually install it. I don't think I can use a live CD for trying to see if OBS will work with the capture cards. I think I actually have to install it. But if I can find a way to install Linux, and I'm not risking the Windows install, because I know it will take me a little bit to experiment with, then I will look into using Linux for streaming. But that doesn't fix the fact that at some point I know this workstation is going to need replaced just because of how old it is. Because I don't want to. There comes a point where I need to make sure the computer is reliable so it's one less thing that keeps me from streaming. Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, it's probably is a Falcon. Yes. Um, I think there's only one Eagle on the motherboard itself. The box is certainly plastered with enough. I think there's only one on the motherboard. I mean, I think they put it on every side of the box because they want to make sure you know it's an Aorus motherboard. But Lazy Bite Boy says this is why we need to bring back Temple OS. David Starbucks says BIOS for the win. Yeah, if I had a spare set of cards, then it would make it easier because then I could just set up another computer to even see if how it would work. Because I don't want to have to go buy an Elgato capture card because this data path card probably runs circles around the Elgato card. Because the thing is, the Elgato card's designed for gaming streaming, like modern gaming streaming. This data path card's designed for like all the capturing I need to do. Anyways, I will, if I can find a way to install Linux without risking my Windows install, i.e., I don't want, I'm going to have to, I will need to install another drive in the computer to be able to install Linux on it, because I don't want to repartition my NVMe that I have Windows installed on it. But I don't know how much room there is on this computer to install another drive, because I've got all the slots full. Theoretically, there's a SATA port free, and I could probably install Linux on that. If I can find a way to install Linux on the computer, not on a flash drive. I have had enough trouble with flash drives lately. I am not going to try to run Linux on a flash drive. I have SATA hard drives. If there's a free SATA port in the computer, I will. If I can fit a SATA drive in the computer, then I'll do that. I will look into seeing what Linux might be able to do. Well, I know you can boot Linux off a flash drive. I hope you realize, in order to try streaming from Linux, I need to actually install it. Oh. Well, I only mention it because I actually really have had trouble with flash drives lately. Um, yeah, I'm streaming right now from an HP Z440 workstation, but it's not on the Windows 11 support list. So, yeah, it's got like 48 PCI Express lanes. Unfortunately, though, due to various factors, I have cards installed in the wrong slots in it, so there's that. But yeah, I do use oh no, I don't have a RetroTink. Um, I have a scaler. It's not a RetroTink. The RetroTinks are kind of expensive. Yeah, I will if I can figure out that the drivers will work, and I have a path to being able to still be able to use programmers that I use, and knowing that I am not really keen on having to run everything from the command line, but only because as I get older, my desire to type goes down. Yeah, Mega says, I just can't help but mention it because this is not the first stream where someone shared their woes about Windows 11 and stuff, and there is an alternative. It's just a different kind of friction. Yeah, Thomas says, talk to the mouse. Well, the thing is, with the mouse, I can hold the mouse in a way where it does not, where I don't have to. Basically, I could tell you right up front, I have arthritis in my thumb. It is not. I know as I get older, it's going to get worse. I can definitely tell you, though, I know it's arthritis in my thumb. So, my desire to type lots of things on command lines is lower than it used to be because I want to be nice to my thumb. But I can hold mice. I don't have to use my thumb to grip the mouse. I've learned to use the mouse in a way where I'm kind of not gripping it with my thumb. So there's that. But yeah, when it starts to get to having to type commands on command lines, I'm like, kind of like, okay, occasionally doing it, it's not too bad. But sometimes I do like to save myself some typing. That's also why I don't play as many video games, because I know I do occasionally like to play a video game, but yeah, it's one reason I don't play them as much is because most game controllers require you to use your thumb, and I'm like, so it's like I'll play them for a little bit, and then I'm like, nope, I better stop. Be nice to my thumb. E2 is fun. So, yeah. So anyways. Oh, Path of Exile 2. Alright, so this Oloy 16 gigabyte memory stick is also good. Alright. So, what have we learned? We have learned that this Aorus B50 Elite AX V2 from eBay. Now, the seller said that that Wi-Fi didn't work, and without an operating system installed, I have no way of verifying their assertion. I don't know how the backplate removes. But so far, the motherboard works. So this is for my basically, this motherboard is to replace my video editing computer with one that is supported by Windows 11. So this is a B550 motherboard for socket AM4. I have a Ryzen 9 3900X processor that my friend gave me because it was like her late husband had some computers, and this processor was amongst those computers. So that's the processor for the board. In fact, the processor was in a computer, but the computer that it was in had a micro ATX motherboard, so it didn't have. It only had one NVMe slot. I was going to see if I could figure out. I was going to try to see if I could figure out what the Wi-Fi situation was on the board. Anyways, I picked this motherboard up on eBay for $28. 4 parts. Wi-Fi doesn't work, but the motherboard works. I figured it was a fairly cheap gamble. I mean, the thing is, I don't need the Wi-Fi. I use wired Ethernet for the video editing computer. So I don't need the Wi-Fi because it's got 2.5 gigabit Ethernet networking. But it would be nice to have the Wi-Fi, and I can tell you that it does appear as if it is a module that screws in, because there's 2 screws here on the back of the board where the Wi-Fi module is, but I don't know how this IO shield is attached. So I don't want to just... Oh, it looks like it screws in. Alright, so let's solve the mystery of this. I think this IO shield is held on with 2 screws now that I look at it. Probably 2 screws, and then it probably clips in on the top side. So let's... 1, 2... Well, I don't need Wi-Fi, so... Is it still... Oh, I powered the... I've unplugged it, so... Alright, so the IO shield... Oh yeah, it totally looks like a Wi-Fi module. Oh yeah, it's unpeeled. I might have the part on an older board, yes. I mean, if worst comes to worst, I don't have Wi-Fi. I don't care. But yeah, there are totally many options to fix it. Well, Gigabyte certainly didn't want you to figure out the Yeah, David Starbucks says there should be more screws holding on the plastic shroud. I, I just want to remove the I/O plate. I don't want to remove. Oh, hold on. Oh, it removes all as one piece. Oh, well, in that case, I think there is a third screw. I thought the I/O shield would come off. All right. Oh, there we go. All right, I got the I/O shield off. Oh yeah, it's totally um yeah, it's totally a little module. All right. So yeah, I can replace the module. I've Yeah, this isn't a all right, this is a heat sink right here. This is just a plastic probably air. Not knowing how it's clipped on, I'm trying not to just yank on it because I don't want to. Anyways, yeah, it looks like that's the Wi-Fi module oven. But yeah, there's totally a module. I mean, the Wi-Fi is totally on a module. And it looks exactly like the modules I saw on eBay. In fact, it can probably remove the module. I think it's 2 screws. There's 1, 2, and then I think it's going to end up being a little M2 card, just like um, Mega said. I think it was Mega. Yeah, right there we go. There's the Wi-Fi module. It's I think they're removable. I don't think I can remove them unless I disassemble it, but yeah, I could probably totally... Yeah, probably, well, I mean... I don't know which model this is. I'll have to probably kind of getting late. Well, okay, I guess. What's one more screw? All right, so if we remove this one last screw, then that should let me remove this black plastic piece. Which, there we go. Yeah, I can, looks like if I can find a replacement card, then I can very carefully remove those two antenna leads. So, there we go. That is the original module, so yeah, just need to find a replacement for that. And Wi-Fi will probably work again. Assuming there's not like a break in the antenna wiring. It just probably baked in the little Wi-Fi oven. No, Thomas, there's no barcodes on the back of it. It's just a sticker. Uh, I'll have to look up what it is, because I don't see a part number on it. Hey, Vborg, welcome. Yep, I was about to end the stream because it is getting late and I'm getting tired. But I guess just because I'll go back to this live stream. Oh, it's a real tech. There we go. It's a RTL 8852 CE. There we go. I'll look up what that is so I don't like accidentally downgrade my Wi-Fi, but if I can get the module cheap enough, I'll just buy a replacement module and fix the board and problem solved. Yeah, it is a bit wiggly. So anyways, all right. So Wheel of Regrets. Thomas says $20 on Amazon. Yeah, Wheel of Regrets. So we got Apple II drive controller cards. Haven't tested those. We'll see if they work when I next do an Apple II stream. All right, we had a Mad Dog PCI video card. It needs recapped before we can test it. We had a oh yeah, some IC components and whatnot. And Beeborg's asking, did I ever get a chance to test the CRT? The good news is it's in my basement. The bad news is no, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to test it because my workbench hasn't had enough room to pull it on the bench. I'll put that on my list of things I need to test sooner rather than later. It probably works though. But yeah, it's it is in the basement, but I don't have enough space on my workbench to put that big monitor on it. I need to build the new workbench, but it's like really hot outside these days. But yeah, okay, so we had some IC components. We'll test those later. they'll come in handy for fixing the Apple II clone board, for trying faster FPU speed on the, Tim says, lol, small steps, one day, yep. Fixing the Apple II clone board, oscillators for the Mac Plus accelerator upgrade to see if running the FPU faster makes it go any faster, and, 387DX math coprocessors. That was one item. And then this motherboard for trying to upgrade video editing computer. Yep, it's AM4. It's newer than I'd usually buy, but hey, the motherboard, $28 because the Wi-Fi was broken, and it looks like for about what I paid for the motherboard itself, I can probably fix the Wi-Fi. So, anyways, smash that like button if you like it when I get potential regrets from eBay and they actually work. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. Thursday, we are... not sure what we're doing Thursday. What did I say we're doing Thursday? We're doing something Thursday. I think maybe I wanted to see how far I got tonight before I scheduled something. Or did I schedule something? Let's see here. I shuffled live streams and I don't remember if I... Oh, okay. Thursday. Hold. Let me check one. Oh, I don't know where the box is. All right, Thursday we're probably going to look at the Mac Plus accelerator card. I wanted to open potential regrets tonight, knowing that I had this motherboard coming. So Thursday, I think we'll look at the Mac Plus accelerator. Especially if I have the correct oscillator sockets on hand. We'll even try the 25 megahertz oscillators I bought. And then, yeah. So, I do have to work tomorrow. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me, hanging out, being cool in the chat, putting up with me as I MIM tested newer stuff, because it's for video editing. And yeah. And one of these days I will just at least look to see how well supported my streaming video capture devices are supported by Linux. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.